Hey everyone, Grandmaster Ben Feingold here with the video of the day. Missed a couple of days because I was busy, but you guys were watching my old videos because you missed some, so we're good. It's Thursday night, it's 10 after 10, and I couldn't think of a good video to make, and then I thought, well, let's look at a Morphy game. So I tried to find one I haven't shown a video before. I found a game with Bird, famous for the Birds opening. Not Sweet D from Sunny in Philadelphia. This is another Bird. Anyway, yeah, so let's look at the game. This is a famous game also, and actually there's been a lot of analysis over the years. I don't do a lot of analysis because it's silly. And if we analyze the opening for the first 10 moves, that's also not good. So, yeah, opening theory in 1840s wasn't the best. Okay, so Morphy played an opening that he played sometimes. In the Philidor, he would play the move F5. The only reasonable player who I know has played that in the last 40 years is Eugene Martinovsky. He was a FIDE master from Illinois, a medical doctor, good friend of mine. He died about 15 years ago, maybe. I saw him at tournaments my whole life, and I have a bad record against him because I think almost every time I played him, I was a teenager, and he was better than me, so I just got crushed. Anyway, Martinovsky would play this sometimes, even though it wasn't really his style. He liked to play slow, long positional maneuvering games, and F5 is not played today, but it's interesting. Okay, so knight c3, developing a piece. And normally you would see Morphy having white in this position because black's just making pawn moves and white's pieces are out. So the engine wants to play knight g5, and if e4, then knight e5, and it says white's virtually winning. And after knight g5, the engine really hates black's position. Okay, so Bird played knight g3. We're not going to do a big opening analysis because theories incredibly old, and they didn't know any better back then. Okay, e4, knight f6, of course. Bishop g5 isn't a move I would probably even consider, but okay, Morphy played bishop d6. Yeah, Morphy played a lot of good moves in a row. Knight h5 is a bit silly. Castles is correct. I mean, this attack doesn't work because white's king is on e1, his bishop's on f1, his queen's not doing anything. Okay, so he played queen d2, he's going to castle queenside. Morphy played queen e8, unpinning his knight, and threatening queen takes h5. And now Bird played quite a bad move, which should lose the game, but sort of an up and down game. He played g4, so Matt Larson is happy. But yeah, that's not good because the g4 pawn's not sufficiently defended. Of course, we can't let black play queen takes knight, but still. Yeah, so g4 is crazy. Morphy played knight g4, which is good. And then he took on h5, which is correct. So now black's a pawn up, and I also prefer black's position. So, okay, knight c6 is okay. It's not the computer move, but it's fine. Bishop e2 is forced because white's got a castle queenside, and for those of you who don't know, castling queenside is illegal here. So, okay, bishop e2, queen h3 is interesting. Now the e5 knight is actually attacked, so he traded and he castled. Oh, sorry, play bishop e3, because if he castles, he loses the f2 pawn. Yeah. Okay, so bishop e3, Morphy played rook b8, putting his rook on the open line, and white castle. Okay, so if you put this on your engine, you know, black's like plus 1.5, I guess, because black's a pawn up and better. And it won't play Morphy's next move, which is a very famous move. And if you want to win brilliancy prizes, winning pawn up endgames isn't really the way to do it. Morphy didn't do that very often. One of the negatives people have about Morphy is that when he did attack, and even when he attacked correctly, which was most of the time, his opponents didn't defend very well, which is true, but Morphy was very accurate and saw the complications better than his opponent. You can make the same argument about Mikhail Tal, but those guys were the best in the world, so they put pressure on their opponents, and their opponents couldn't handle the truth. So, yeah, the engine wants to do something that's pretty modern, actually. Not something you would think about in the mid-1800s. It wants to play bishop b4 attacking the queen, obviously c3, and then just go back. And it says that white's weakened his king somewhat. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, I I see what they're saying, but I still wouldn't do it. Okay, so if you don't know this game, or if you forgot, pause your video and try to figure out the brilliant move that Morphy made here. Okay, if you didn't see this game, this is a hard move to find because the follow-up is not intuitive at all. Played rook takes f2 because he's Morphy, and you have to take the rook, otherwise you lost your f2 pawn and you're down 2 pawns. So, okay, and now the point is the bishop's not on e3, so we have the obvious move, frankly. Queen a3. Also, bishop a3 is okay. Queen a3 is better. And a lot of people thought this game wasn't the best because rook f2, queen a3 isn't the computer way of playing. Sorry. But yeah, this is amazing that Morphy can see and understand and calculate these complications. I mean, when he sacrificed material, it was clear a few moves later that his position was good. So, okay, we're threatening queen b2 mate, and for those of you who are confused, you can't take because of mate. So that's pretty easy to calculate. Okay, so he played c3, which defends the b2 pawn. Okay, and now the queen is hanging. Or is it? It is. Okay, so queen a2. Now, if it were black's turn to move, he would have mate in 2 with queen a1 check, and then he could take either way on b2, whichever way you prefer. So white played b4. Yeah, b4 is the best move. Let's see, what if I play queen c2? Oh, then bishop f4 check isn't so good. Yeah, that doesn't look too good. Okay, so b4, queen a1 check, king c2 is forced, queen a4 check. Now white made a bad move. The correct move is king c1. And now the engine says bishop f5, which threatens e3. e3 is crushing, so you block it. And now you sack on b4, threatening bishop a3 check. So you take it, and you take this. And the engine says black is slightly better, like 0.3. So that's a funny evaluation. Black is down a rook and a piece. But for those of you at home, he has 5 pawns. And 5 pawns is a lot. And he's threatening mate everywhere, queen a3 and queen a1 and so forth. So, I don't know. Who knows what would have happened? That was the correct way of playing. And instead of playing king c1, which is forced, white lost without a fight. He may have lost anyway if he played king c1, but it would have been more interesting for us. Play king b2, and Morphy just easily sacks on b4. Yeah, and the problem is, well, you have to take the rook, because you get mated in 1 or 2. King c3 is mate, and king c1 is also mate. So, okay, so he has to take the rook. And material isn't horrible for white. A rook and 2 pieces, I'm sorry, 2 rooks and a piece are better than a queen. Although I do have 5 pawns. But you're going to lose material here, which Morphy shows. So he played king c2. And this is really nice what he did. This is, I mean, the real definition of a clearance sacrifice, but it's easy and it doesn't lose much. So it's a pretty good clearance sacrifice. Play e3. You're just opening up the line for the bishop here. Otherwise, white could eventually play bishop e3, and your bishop on c8's not very good. Now your bishop's pretty good. Okay, so king c1's not good, and I'm sure there's other moves that win that aren't queen c3, but since it's mate, it's the best move. Bishop d3, which is pretty obvious, loses also because of queen c4, and you lose your bishop. I either take with the queen or the bishop, depending on where you go. I mean, king d2 loses both bishops and gets mated. So I guess you're going to b2, and then I just play bishop takes d3, and I'm winning. So Bird played the best move, rook to d3. Morphy played queen c4. If you don't play king d2, your rook's not defended enough. So king d2, queen check, and you have a back rank issue. Yeah, so when your king goes to the back rank, you're going to get skewered. So he played king d1. So if he gets skewered with queen b1 or queen a1, he could at least block. But unfortunately, we're attacking both rooks. I mean, unfortunately for white. So if you move your king up, I take the rook on h1, and if you block with the bishop, I play bishop takes d3, and blacks up a ton of material. And this is where Bird resigned. So that was a famous Morphy game, mainly for the rook f2, queen a3 variation, which was played. I never get to do stuff like that. There's sack queens and rooks, and it's good. Now, of course, rook f2, queen a3 technically probably weren't the best moves, but they maintained black's advantage, and they were certainly the most exciting and very difficult for white to defend. And it's sort of mind-boggling how Morphy even saw moves like that, because nobody else did. I was playing terrible back then. But yeah, it was a very exciting game. It wasn't boring like a lot of today's Super GM games. There wasn't a lot of theory. There was a lot of excitement. And when there was a lot of excitement in Morphy's games, usually he calculated better than his opponents and he won. So he won a lot of tournaments and a lot of matches and a lot of fun games. And a lot of his wins feature a lot of sacrifices. So it's interesting for us. And his calculation was pretty good. Even when the computer doesn't play his sacrifice, it still says he has the advantage. So, man, sacking all your pieces. It's you try to do that at home, and you see how often it works. I play games like this once every 10 years, and then when I do, it doesn't work. So he did them just as a matter of standard play. Okay, we did a lot of work the last 3 days on the chess center. That's why I didn't make any videos. We were there all day. All the chess sets are set up. We found some missing pawns. Well, you open up their set. And we got clocks on every board. We have board numbers on every board. We have extra queens on every board. Tournament room can hold 76 players. I made it a little more comfortable for the top 2 boards. And I made it more comfortable in the Skittles rooms also. So we can fit more, but right now we have room for 8 people in each Skittles room. We have 4 boards set up, very roomy. We could use those rooms for a tournament if we get more than 80 people, which seems unlikely most of the time. Cross our fingers. And we have a lecture room, which will comfortably hold 16 people. If a lecture gets more than 16 people, we'll do it in the tournament room, which holds 80 people. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do still. We ordered a lot of books and equipment to sell. And right now, the main online focus is to let you guys enter tournaments online by paying us. Hopefully in a week or 2 that'll be ready. Hopefully in a week. Our web guy's working on that. And you'll be able to go to the website, see the tournaments, and enter on site. And classes also. Right now you could call us or email us and we'll figure it out, but it's easier if you do it and just type all your information in. Okay, the grand opening is September 9th. Lots of food, lots of drinks, lots of chess. If you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you can see lots of pictures we took over the last few days of some fun blitz games with me and Karen and a friend of ours, David Vest. And like and subscribe here on YouTube. We haven't got donations in a while. You guys forgot. I was busy too. I was not only doing all that work, I was watching all these matches on chess.com. Nepomniachtchi beating Aronian and Fabiano beating Ifan pretty handily. Next month, in a month and a half on October 4th, I play my match with Ginger GM, Simon Williams, on chess.com. We'll be trash talking. It's not safe for work. It's not children friendly. There's a parental warning. There's going to be some bad language. There's going to be some trash talking. And there's going to be 2.5 to 3 hours of chess. And this prize fund is very substantial. Right now, there's over $3,000 in prizes just for the 3-hour match. So root for me. All right, see you guys next time. This is Grandmaster Ben Feingold with the video of the day. Until next time, bye everyone.